Hey everyone, it's Drayton, and in this video, we're going to be doing an announcement recap for this month's scale trains in HO and in scale. Stay tuned. All right, so I'm going to lead off with my favorite announcement from this month, and that is the second run of the Rivet Counter HO scale GE AC4400s. A lot of great new road names and paint schemes in this run. Some highly requested road names. And of course, we also have some new road numbers from previously announced road names like Union Pacific. Of course, we got yellow Sill versions and red Sill versions. There's some variations there with the number board placement, deck-mounted ditch lights as opposed to pilot-mounted. So kind of cool that we've got those variations for you UP guys. And you're going to see some more modern versions come out with PTC array in future runs. We've gotten quite a few questions about those from UP modelers. But going into the other road names, Ferromex, we're offering it for the first time, and Ferromex had quite a few of the AC4400s, and they go great with the FerroServe versions from the first run. We have a lot of great friends down in Mexico who have helped us acquire photos of these units, and of course, you know, here in the United States, it's not something that we see all the time, but the anti-vandalism grates, they're on each of the road numbers here. And, you know, that's a feature that is common in Mexico. Often they're removed when these locomotives end up in the United States, but, you know, these models are for our friends in Mexico, and, you know, that's one of the features that we're proud to put on our models. That's what Rivet Counter detail is all about. So there's some variety there. I know that we're doing the Ferromex Zebra scheme. So if you've got the ES44 Gevos, you can now get the Zebra scheme with the AC4400s. We're doing the anniversary paint scheme, and no hablo español, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it correctly, but we're doing the anniversary unit as well. And then standard Ferromex red and green. So a lot of variety there for you Ferromex guys. And of course, you know, if you're a UP modeler, you're going to want to get one of these because Union Pacific actually owns a good amount of Ferromex stock. So a lot of times you'll see UP and Ferromex power crossing the border back and forth into the United States. Obviously, because the Ferromex locomotives don't have PTC, they don't lead anymore. But 5, 6, 7 years ago, they did quite often. As a matter of fact, I shot, in all places, a Ferromex locomotive leading a BNSF freight train on the racetrack outside of Chicago. So, you know, these models also make for great foreign run-through power. Additionally, we have Kansas City Southern in the Gray Ghost scheme, which is pretty cool. These locomotives were among KCS's first GE locomotives. Historically, they were always an EMD road with a few exceptions, but in the 90s, they finally turned to GE after seeing the success of the locomotives on other railroads, and they also at that time had just gotten into Mexico, and so now that KCS was a much larger railroad, they needed motive power and they needed it quick, so of course they placed an order for TFM, which became Kansas City Southern de Mexico. And then later on in 1999, they placed an order for the several 2000 series AC4400s, and 50 of them were delivered by the turn of the 21st century. To honor the new millennia, they actually numbered their AC44s, beginning with the number 2000. And the lead, or I should say class leader, that locomotive was decorated in a special NAFTA railway paint scheme. For you younger guys, including myself, NAFTA was the North American Fair Trade Agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and essentially that allowed trade to open up between the three countries with less restrictions. And so to celebrate that, KCS decorated this locomotive as such. There's some pretty cool logos. You've got the Gateway Western, you've got the Texas Mexican Railway on there, the Panama Canal Railway, and of course the 3 flags from all North American countries. So I think that's pretty cool. KCS is also the only road name I should say, in this run that has front and rear ditch lights. So not very many customers of the AC4400 got ditch lights on the long hood, but Kansas City Southern thought that they would use these AC4400s in a variety of different service types, and they didn't really have a whole lot of areas they could actually turn them, so that's why they got ditch lights on the rear. Another road name that we're offering in this run is CSX Bluebirds, and of course for you guys who are all about those Bluebirds, I know myself being from Michigan, kind of have a soft spot for them because the LS&I Railroad in the Upper Peninsula has had a leased fleet of those locomotives for many, many years at this point. So, you know, kind of cool to see them now being offered in HO scale. And of course, if you don't model the LS&I, these locomotives are great too because everybody needs a leased locomotive at some point. And you often see them running through on Norfolk Southern and CSX here, commonplace here in East Tennessee. Last but not least, we are offering new road numbers for CSX modelers in the YN2 paint scheme. This time, instead of the GE high-ad trucks, we're offering them with the GE Steerable Trucks, the early version. And one of the unique road numbers in this run is number 391, the Spirit of Dant, or if you're from that area, the Spirit of Daint. Yes, I've heard it pronounced multiple different ways. It's not Dante though, so don't make that mistake. But you're gonna wanna add one of these to your roster, to add a little bit of variety, and you wouldn't believe how many people have asked us for the steerable trucks. So for you guys who have wanted those, here you go. This is your opportunity to add them to your roster. So with that being said, click the link in the video description to order your HO AC4400s now. All right, so our next HO scale announcement this month is the Pullman Standard 5344 cubic foot boxcars. These boxcars were made in the late 70s, and they were part of the incentive per diem program, and essentially it was a way for short lines to bargain for better rates, and it was a really important part of railroad history because it essentially allowed short lines to compete head-on with the Class 1 railroads. So there's a lot of colorful road names and paint schemes in this run, as well as a modern Norfolk Southern version. I'm not going to go through all the road names. Mike's going to play a slideshow as I talk here, but these road names and paint schemes will brighten up any railroad. I know one in particular that I really like is the Port of St. Joe Railroad. I wish that railroad was still in operation. Unfortunately, the paper mill shut down several years ago. It may have actually been a couple decades ago, but neat railroad, and it's really cool to see it in HO scale. And then for you modern NS guys like myself, you've got the repainted version of the boxcars with the conspicuity striping, so you know that it's good for the post-2007 era. So if you want to learn more about all the road names and paint schemes, click the link in the video description, and make sure you place your order because these road names and paint schemes are in production now. So if you want them, we recommend pre-ordering them before they get here because we actually had some pre-orders sell out from our other ExactRail boxcar announcement last month before they've even gotten here. So the demand is high for these ExactRail Platinum models. A lot of great hand-applied details on these things, so make sure you secure your favorites today by clicking the link in that video description. All right, so now that we're through the HO scale announcements, for you N-scale guys, we have a diesel locomotive announcement this month. More N-scale SD40-2s in our Rivet counter line with railroad road number and era-specific detail. A lot of great road names in this run for classic modelers. We've got Conrail, Chicago and Northwestern, Norfolk and Western in two different paint scheme variations. We've got EMD Leasing, the blue scheme that was common in the late 80s, early 90s, and the Milwaukee Road Bandits. We also have Milwaukee Road and Santa Fe. So a lot of great road names in this run. I'll point out with the Conrails first. There's several different paint scheme variations here, including the Olympic Bike Trials unit, which is really neat because we offered that one previously in HO scale. Now it's available in N scale in that same great level of detail. With the paint scheme being able to be read, you can hold up a magnifying glass and it'll be legible. Incredible detail for a model that's only about that big. So excited about that one. There's another road number that actually has a star on the side of the cab, and I'm not a Conrail modeler, so for you guys who know all about that, let us know in the comments section. We'd love to know why Conrail put a star on that particular locomotive. Of course, then we also have the white sill versions. Conrail added reflective striping onto the sills, and the older versions without the white sill are available as well. So toward the late 80s and early 90s, which is about when these road numbers were modeled after. A lot of these units were being used in helper service over Horseshoe Curve. There's a really great time to model article on our website. If you go to the community section on our homepage, click there, you can find a really in-depth article about these this series of SD40-2s from Conrail. So pretty cool. So for you Midwestern guys, we are actually offering two different paint scheme variations for Chicago and Northwestern. The original yellow scheme with the system logo and the original yellow scheme with the employee-owned logo, which is pretty cool. So you can have some variety on your layout. You're definitely going to want to pick these up because they've got that signature gong bell on the front. They also have a non-operating beacon on top, so it's a little difficult to add all of the lighting features, but you'll still have LED illuminated headlights and number boards on these models. Well, with that completes our product announcement roundup here. For this month's announcements, I'm Drayton from Scale Trains. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you smash that like button and also ring the bell to get notifications every time we upload a new video. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.